Joining us now to talk about the latest on the situation in Ukraine is political science professor Jaro Bilocerkowycz from the University of Dayton in Ohio. Professor, Russia's invasion of Ukraine began almost a year ago. Is there any end in sight, and what might an end look like at this point?
Well, I think it'll probably be a long conflict. Both sides have strong interest. Ukraine is fighting for its bare existence, its identity, for democracy, for European values. In the case of Russia, it's mostly Putin is fighting for his own sort of political survival. He's trying to kind of restore the Russian Empire. So the stakes are high for him as well, not necessarily for Russia, but for Putin himself. So as a result, I think that suggests, the conflict won't be ending very shortly. So it could be extended. I think an end would be Russia sort of pulling out of a lot of those Ukrainian occupied territories that they've placed themselves, so that Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity would be restored. Now, the question is how much of the territory they will leave. In other words, and that's partly a function of how effectively Ukraine's forces fight, and they've done quite well, far beyond all expectations, as well as if international support, Western support continues, which they need given the mismatch between how powerful and large Russia is compared to Ukraine.
Atomic scientists have set the Doomsday Clock closer to catastrophe because of Putin's arsenal of nuclear weapons and threats that he might use them. That was, of course, a big fear when this war started. Do you think it's still a concern?
Well, the way I would put it is, it's troubling that Putin and Russian officials periodically have raised the specter of potential nuclear use. And from my perspective, I think it's essentially intended to intimidate West, Europe, the United States, and others from providing Ukraine the aid it desperately needs, military aid, be it tanks, air defense, etc. Again, so they need the equipment to defend themselves, and Russia knows this is something that could scare or intimidate or deter the West from providing the aid. So essentially, I would say it's Russia bluffing. It's threatening. It's irresponsible. It certainly is something that, maybe deserves to make the atomic clock go, closer to midnight. But I don't see them realistically doing that under normal circumstances.
Are the sanctions that governments around the world have been putting on Russia actually helping Ukraine?
Absolutely. Sanctions sometimes don't work overnight, but they have a long-term effect. Even the fact of weaning away from Russian natural gas and oil, as the Europeans are doing, is having an impact. They've also sort of put a ceiling on the price that one can pay. Otherwise, you don't get insurance and shipping. And that's had a big effect as well. So I think in the short run, Russia sort of likes to think that they're surviving it okay. But, these are all cumulative. And Russia's lost a big market in terms of its energy sales. And it's not so easy to kind of readjust.
Thank you for joining us, Professor.
Thank you.